Alright, I just wanted to expand a little bit on what I was talking about in the last video. So these narcopaths, I don't drink that Coca-Cola and tea candy. Basically, let's talk about empaths and how we're made and narcs. I know I said it in the other video and I'm gonna probably repeat it a few times, but it's kind of important here. So empaths, we're basically made in the same kind of environment as narcopaths. We're kind of made by, there's usually one narc parent. We basically grow up in a dysfunctional household, and dysfunction is basically where there's a lot of pain in the house. Nothing really gets fixed, nothing gets resolved. You're basically in a house where there's one kind of like parent who's either they're unpredictable, like say an alcoholic or an addict, or they DV the other parent, or they what other thing is there? They're just very, very abusive to us mentally and sometimes physically, emotionally, definitely. And because of that, we either choose to be not like them or we choose to be like them. But basically, empaths, we kind of train this sixth sense to become very like sensitive. We're highly intuitive and we're very sensitive anyway, but we train this sixth sense to be very in tune to this person's mood. So say that parent comes back from work and they take their anger out on the whole family, they take it out on the mother, or the mother can take it out on the father, it doesn't matter. And then because of that, you have to kind of like walk on eggshells sort of thing. So we train our sense of like, or we expand our sensitivity to include everybody. So that's in itself unhealthy, because you become like, you got no boundaries basically. Like you don't know when there's an emotion that's around, you don't know whether that emotion is coming from you or whether it's coming from someone else, or you know, do I have to put on thank you, do I have to put on like a performance to avoid being
speed camera limit 20,
being abused basically? Do I have to placate? Do I have to put myself second? Do I have to acquiesce to someone else? And we sort of do that going through our whole life basically. We've got this unstable parent, so we don't know about our emotions, we don't know about our boundaries, we don't know how to say no. We often get trained to become people pleasers as well by this parent, because they're training us in essence to be supply for them. So they've got this unlimited supply. They can come to us to sort of drain our energy. And what happens a lot of the time with us is we become this person who's like always like a giver. Like we're like giving, we're like empathetic, sympathetic. So sometimes in my video I'm talking about it from my point of view, and I'm like, I and it feels so unnatural to be selfish in that way. But as a human, it's only you here on this earth. It's only your experience that really, you should be worried about. You shouldn't worry about too much about, upsetting someone or how someone feels about you, or you say no and they don't want to take your boundaries. So, you're scared of how that person will start treating you because they can't deal with their stuff. And this is the thing about these narcopaths. We're made the same. It's like an oven, and the oven is like the temperature in the oven is just too high. There's too much stress, too much going on. So all the cakes burn, but for some reason, our cake, we don't burn. They completely burn their soul. They burn, they go black, like they char, they become charred. Whereas we still stay soft and mild, and we still like care about other people and have all this empathy, but we have to be very selective with our empathy. But that energy, that authentic energy, is very like, it gets people like punch drunk. Like when they feel it, like, wow, this person is like, you know, they're like the light of this world. They're like really calm, they're gentle, they're a good listener, they're, you know, they're a shoulder to cry on, and they just tend to abuse that. And these people who want to destiny swap with us, they see it as well, and they just want to just acquire it from us. It's not like it's very weird. It's like they want to like acquire it. And what happens a lot of time when I talk about destiny swapping is, a lot of the time when we get devalued, we kind of lose our way in terms of, we might have been singers, we might have been producers, we might have been athletes, we might have just had something that we love to do. And this psyop where a narc will group up with people, they'll gang up on you, send someone into your life. That person will be feeding people back information about you. And sometimes that information might even be true. It's a more of the time it's exaggerated, but they cause a lot of it by putting us under stress, so there's reactive abuse. But you may be just saying something like, oh, I want to be the best songwriter, I want to be better than everybody, I want to be the best painter, I want to be the best at poetry. And they always tell everybody in that peer group that makes poems that you were saying that. So you will have all this like people working behind the scenes to block all your, you know, block all your opportunities. People are just, you know, spreading this like vicious smear campaigns. You get isolated. You just get bullied basically until you don't want to do those things anymore. But what happens is the narcissists, or these characters, they start actually taking on those things that you were doing. And they'll never be on the level of the empath. They'll never be on the level of the chosen, the anointed. Like, because of that sensitivity level, like we're so sensitive and we're so like intuitive. When we do create things, when we create, it's just coming from another sense. It's a sixth sense, I keep calling it, but it comes from a deeper connection to the divine, if that makes sense. And it's weird, like it's on like Leonardo da Vinci. It's like you're just like you're just very good at making things, basically. It just comes out and just like, it's just so different to what everybody else can make. And that just comes from that level of sensitivity. So they want to destiny swap with us. So when you hear about sacrifices, when you hear about, you know, narcopaths, you know, living this kind of life and making money or whatever, usually there will be an empath or chosen person in the background that they have destroyed. They've unalived, they've taken their place, they're using their talents. You know, you have all these record companies where they will take all your publishing, all your rights. You're lied to by these controlling people. They're very good at like laws and using the legal system and copyrights against us. We're very interested in creating the work. They're interested in kind of putting papers in place where they can steal. That's basically what they're good at. You won't even know it, but there'll be someone in the background trying to swap with you, and they can't swap with you, and they will never win. Also, you also have to put the faith and trust in Most High in your prayer. You know, just knowing that, you know, these people, they can't win. There's like karmic laws where it's like when someone is trying to attack us one way, you know, there'll be someone else in the background lifting us up the other way. So it's never like one-sided. You're never like in this battle. Like somebody said this to me one time, they were like, are you alone? We're never ever alone. That's the last thing that we are. We carry the Holy Spirit with us wherever we go. When you walk into a room, you change the whole vibration of the room. And when you leave that room, you leave a resonance of like hope, of like righteousness, of justice, of peace, of love, if you want. And that's what I just wanted to expand on it, just so some of the people out there can have, like, take some hope from this message.